Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law that her opinion is not more important than mine? For some context, I am 24 and getting married in September. I love that month because it is that perfect summer-fall in-between feeling. My fiancé, who is 29, proposed to me last December on my birthday. I have met his family many times, my future mother-in-law, father-in-law, and sister-in-law. They are all very cordial and friendly. The trouble started when I began organizing my wedding, which is very tedious but also incredibly exciting. We hired a wedding planner to help us figure out how to blend our personalities and hobbies into the day. My fiancé is a bit of a coding nerd. I call him my little hacker. And he absolutely loves The Matrix, which I still have not seen. We wanted to add little personal touches wherever we could, maybe some computer code references and Matrix Easter eggs hidden within our wedding invitation designs. I'm a fan of Breaking Bad, a total Oscar film nerd, and an Ariana Grande fan. Mixing all of it together has been so much fun. Last week I invited my mom, my future mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and both of my sisters to our third wedding planner meeting. They saw everything we had done and found it cute. I had made sure all the little personal touches were subtle enough not to be seen at a glance, but noticeable if you looked closely. Out of nowhere, my sister-in-law said we should cut it all, that it was too tacky. My fiancé explained that we had both discussed it and loved the idea. She doubled down and said we should be more classy. I looked at her and said these details were hidden and would only appear on the wedding invitations. She looked at me like I had lost my mind. She said she was just looking out for me. She then went on to say we should not have chocolate cake, it should be strawberry. That my dress should not be princess cut because it is too 80s. That I should dye my hair brunette because it suits my face better. At some point, it stopped sounding like suggestions and started sounding like orders. I looked at her and said, everything you just told me to change is something I really like, so it is all staying. Period. She did not speak again for the rest of the meeting. But at the end, she pulled my fiancé aside and, according to him, demanded that I respect her more and her opinions, since planning a wedding had always been her dream, and I would be her future sister-in-law, so I should not push her aside. My fiancé suggested I apologize. I was not going to, but I wondered if I had actually gone too far. Update. The next morning I told him it did not feel right that he was suggesting I apologize for setting boundaries at my own wedding. He agreed his sister was in the wrong, but said she is too sensitive and takes things very badly. He offered to talk to her himself, but I figured I will be dealing with her for the rest of my life, so I might as well learn how to handle her now. So I called her. I swear the first thing she said when she picked up was, "I thought you were calling to apologize." I said, "No, I am calling to thank you for your suggestions, but I am sticking with my choices." She had a full temper tantrum. She said it was like I was stopping a future car crash. I hung up. I told my fiancé, and he agreed what she said was out of line. She started calling him non-stop, and he is ignoring her. Her texts to him say things like, "What did she tell you? Are you ignoring me? She got the wrong idea. And I am your sister." Some people forget it is not their wedding. The next one is about a roommate situation that crept up so slowly until it was impossible to ignore. Am I the asshole for kicking my roommate's girlfriend out after she basically moved in without asking? I live with a roommate, and we split the rent 50-50. Everything was fine at first. Then he got a girlfriend. At first she would stay over sometimes, which was completely fine. But over time it turned into her basically living here. She sleeps here, eats our food, uses the shower, uses the washing machine, leaves her things all over the apartment. Sometimes I come home and she is just there alone, as if it is her place. I kept quiet because I didn't want to cause drama. But at some point I realized I was paying for half the apartment while effectively living with two people. I talked to my roommate and said this was not okay. Either she starts contributing financially or she should not be here every single day. He brushed it off and said she just stays over a lot and that I was overreacting. Then one day I told her directly that she does not live here and needs to stop coming over every day. She got upset, he got mad, and now the apartment is tense and they both think I am the asshole. But I never agreed to a third roommate. Am I the asshole for setting that boundary instead of just putting up with it? That is not drama. That is just math. The next story is about a family trying to claim a baby before the mom even has a say. Am I the asshole for not wanting to send my child to another country without me for several weeks? My baby is 1 month old. My boyfriend lives in the United States, but all of his family lives in the Bahamas. His mother and family are insisting that starting when my baby is 1 year old, I send her to the Bahamas for 5 weeks every summer. They are not asking me. They are telling me I am not comfortable with this. I have never met any of them except his mother. His mother claims I will eventually want to send my baby away because she sent my boyfriend to be with his father for months every year, starting when he was 3 years old, and she enjoyed the break. That is simply not the kind of mother I am. My boyfriend was offended when I said no, stating that it was unfair and that I was acting like I did not trust his family. I do not, because I do not know them, and I feel it would be completely irresponsible to send my daughter to another country without me or her father for weeks on end, whether she is an infant, a toddler, or an older child. To be clear, I am completely open to a yearly family vacation together. That is no issue at all. What I have a problem with is leaving my baby for several weeks in another country. That is not my culture. That is not my style of parenting. Until my baby is old enough to speak and tell me things herself, I would not leave her with almost anyone for that length of time. His mother is actually here visiting for a month right now, and stays 1 to 2 times a year, so it is not about his family having a chance to see the baby. She wants my daughter to have a relationship with the extended family in the Bahamas. I do not believe a 5-week stay at such a young age is necessary for that, especially when we have already agreed to go there yearly together as a family. Am I the asshole? A mother's instinct is never wrong. The next one is about a housemate, a needle, and a very uncomfortable conversation. Am I the asshole for saying no peptides under my roof? I am 27 and a registered health professional. My housemate, who I will call Sarah, also 27, recently admitted to me that she had bought peptides off the dark web and has been self-injecting them for the last few weeks. She told me this after we had both had quite a few drinks. We have been friends for about 4 years. I told her point blank that I am not in support of this. In my professional opinion, peptides are not yet proven to have reliable long-term positive effects on the body. They are under-researched and should certainly not be purchased off the dark web without a doctor's consultation, since we do not know what is actually in those substances. She has been self-injecting in our shared home. I am having a difficult time accepting this situation. Part of me says I should respect her bodily autonomy, but most of me is alarmed, especially because she is doing this purely for aesthetics. My housemate also has a history of eating disorders and body image issues, and my honest opinion is that her motivations are still connected to those struggles. After a few drinks that evening, I told her directly that I do not accept self-injection under my roof. I made it clear I was not comfortable living with someone who is self-injecting black market peptides in our home, and I stand by that, especially as a registered health professional. In my country, it is also illegal. I'm not sure how to have a calm, sober conversation about this with her, since she is also my best friend. That is a genuinely complicated situation. The next one is lighter, but had a whole town talking. Am I the asshole for saying no to extra kids at my son's birthday party? My partner and I are throwing our son John an 8th birthday party today. One of John's school friends, Travis, is one of the kids whose parents did not reply to the invitation until the day before the party. After we had gently reminded them, we were waiting for their response. Travis's mom, Renee, accepted and said Travis would be there, along with his 2 younger brothers, and to let her know if that was not okay. Had they given more notice, this would not have been such a big issue. But my partner really throws herself into these parties for our kids, and we budget very carefully because, well, we all know what the cost of living is like right now. We have exactly what we need for the kids who are coming, and nothing extra. My partner came to me and asked whether it was harsh or unfair to tell Renee that the 2 additional kids were not able to come. I said, no, it is not okay. We are not a daycare. Travis's brothers are 6 and 4 years old, and are not even close in age to the other kids. John has never once mentioned these boys. We discussed it further, and decided that regardless of whether we had enough food and cake, our house is going to be packed. We are already hoping the weather holds up, so we can move the activities to the nearby park. There is a real chance everyone ends up stuck inside. This morning Renee messaged my partner to say Travis would not be attending at all. She said they attend parties as a family, all 3 boys, plus both parents for a total of 5, and since they were not all invited, They were more comfortable staying home. We want to know, are we the assholes? John now goes without his friend on his big day, and this is a small town. Renee is going to tell other parents, and we are probably going to look like the bad guys. Am I the asshole? Kids' parties should not be this complicated. The next one is about a husband who never once cleaned his own house, but suddenly wants to clean his mother's. Am I the asshole for being upset that my husband wants to help his mom clean her house? My husband is 31 and I am 30. We have two very young children. I am currently on maternity leave and handle all the household responsibilities, cooking, cleaning, laundry, all of it. To give you a sense of the imbalance, he has not done a single load of laundry in the 8 years we have lived together. Even when I am working full-time alongside him, I still do all of those things on top of my job. I do not want to turn this into a complete rant about that, but it is important context. He went to his mother's house today to feed her cat while the family is away. He has not been there in years. The kids have never been, because the house is genuinely a health hazard. His mother is a hoarder, and apparently also allergic to housework. The grime has just built up and built up over time. He called me to show me on his phone, and it is genuinely disgusting. Not a single surface is clear or clean. He wants to spend a few days there and completely clear it out to help her. I understand that sometimes people get stuck in a rut and need someone to dig them out. But my first reaction is that even if he cleaned the whole thing, she would go back to her ways almost immediately if she has not decided to change for herself. But the real reason I am frustrated is this. Why does he feel it is appropriate to get elbow deep in his mother's mess when he has never once cleaned a toilet in his own home? Just because I handle everything here, he feels free to direct his energy somewhere else entirely. At the same time, I know it is his mother and he wants to help her, but I cannot help being angry about it. His two adult siblings also live there and are doing nothing. We also paid several $100s last year to have someone come and clear the garden because the state of it was not fair to the pets. Am I the asshole for being upset that he wants to help her? The bar for some husbands is truly underground. The next story is about artificial intelligence, a lost job, and a friendship that crumbled over a single argument. Am I the asshole for saying I would use artificial intelligence after my artist friend implied her work was more important than mine? I have a friend who works as an artist, and I like to role-play online. I have commissioned her several times to draw my characters. There has obviously been a huge increase in people using artificially generated images for their characters online. I still prefer to pay my friend for real artwork. I do not like artificial intelligence. I lost my job because of it. The company decided the technology made me obsolete. It hurt. I loved my job and my coworkers. It happened last year, and I got deeply depressed, feeling like I was useless. My friends know how hard it was for me, including this artist friend I will call AF. I was texting AF and mentioned wanting to commission her to draw my newest character. She thanked me for still coming to her because the rise of artificial image generation had caused a noticeable drop in people commissioning her. I shared my experience in more detail. How the same technology took my actual job. She was not very sympathetic though. She basically told me it was different because my job was one that made more sense for the technology to replace. But artificial art was a bigger deal, she said, because it steals from real artists, and being an artist takes immense skill that the technology could never truly replicate. The whole conversation was rubbing me the wrong way. I told her I disagreed that her situation was more serious than mine. I was actually laid off, not just experiencing a slow period. I was unemployed in a job market where my only career experience was now in a field considered obsolete. It was genuinely awful. I did not appreciate her dismissing my experience to elevate her own. I got angry and told her to forget the commission and that I would just use artificial intelligence to create my artwork from now on if she was going to act like that. I also said she had probably lost more work because of her attitude than because of the technology. She blocked me and told mutual friends what I said. I feel bad and embarrassed, but also somewhat justified, because I do not understand why she had to respond that way. For the record, I am not actually going to use artificial intelligence. I said it out of frustration to make a point. I genuinely hate it. I am going to try drawing the character myself, and if it turns out badly, I will commission a different artist. Am I the asshole? Grief and frustration do not always come out cleanly. The next story is about a friendship, a mom who had no business speaking up, and a birthday that became a boundary. Am I the asshole for not inviting my friend to my birthday because of what his mom did? I am in my late 20s and have a friend I hang out with regularly. Lately there has been some tension around money. In the past I have lent him and even his mom money a few times, but I have started setting limits and saying no when I'm not comfortable. Last night I ran into him and his mom. We had not arrived together, so when it came time to pay to get home, I said we should each cover our own portion. His mom stepped in and started criticizing me, calling me arrogant and saying I lacked humility. It felt completely out of line because she is not my parent and has no authority to speak to me that way. What made it worse was that my friend said nothing. He stayed completely quiet, and later, he told me she had not disrespected me, which honestly made me feel even more dismissed than the original comment. The next day he texted me like nothing had happened, asking what time he should show up to my birthday. I told him I was not okay with what had happened, that I had felt disrespected, and that if he agreed with that kind of behavior toward me, I would prefer he did not come. He said okay, and that he did not agree with his mom, but also did not really take any responsibility for how things unfolded. Am I the asshole for not inviting him over this? I did not want to spend my birthday feeling uncomfortable or pretending everything was fine. But I also wonder if I am overreacting since technically it was his mom who said those things, not him. Sometimes the silence is louder than the words. The next one is about a mom with habits that would test the patience of even the calmest person. Am I the asshole for snapping at my mom on her birthday? Due to a housing crisis in my city and past mental health struggles including major clinical depression, I am 28 and still living in my family home with my mom, who is 58, and my two brothers, who are 20 and 21. Over recent years my mom has developed a frustrating habit of treating everyone like they are idiots and micromanaging absolutely everything whenever she asks one of us for help, even for things she herself does not know how to do. She's the kind of person who refuses to learn how to do something, demands we drop everything and help her immediately, and then, while we are helping her, she gives completely useless input, states extremely obvious things as if we do not know them, constantly interrupts the process, and treats you like a child. It is exhausting. It has gotten to a point where my younger brothers are screaming at her every day, fighting for hours. I am a therapist by training, and I try to mediate, but even I am starting to crack. She also has a habit of asking the same question in multiple different ways, each time stating the most obvious possible follow-up. For example, are your brothers back from school? No? Then they are not upstairs? No, then they must be out, right? Yes? Then they must still be in school? Yes? So they are not home yet? I get through 2 or 3 of these before I start giving sarcastic answers because I genuinely believe she does it just to provoke arguments. Recently it was her birthday and she asked me to call a well-known bakery to arrange a cake delivery. As I was on the phone with the woman from the bakery, my mom followed me around the apartment interrupting the call and asking me to repeat what the woman was saying. I offered her the phone multiple times to speak directly. She refused every time. While the bakery worker was asking for my address, my mom interrupted again to say, "Remember, you have to give her our address." I whispered loudly, "Are you serious right now?" and stepped into my room to finish the call. When I came out, she started asking me to repeat every detail from the beginning, over and over, to verify I had not given the wrong address. I finally said, "I think I know our own address, okay? Thank you, Mom." She's now telling everyone I was yelling at her on her birthday and that I ruined her day. That is making me feel genuinely guilty. Was I really the asshole? Living with a parent who pushes every button is its own kind of exhaustion. The next one is about insecurity, a coworker comment, and a question that should not have landed as hard as it did. Am I the asshole for being insecure and not wanting to tell my boyfriend who asked him out? I know my boyfriend could do better than me. He is attractive, works out, and gets hit on when we are out in public. I have never really been hit on by anyone who is not significantly older or who gave me an uncomfortable feeling. I am just not that pretty, and I do not really work out. I know he is out of my league because I have been told. I introduced him to my mom, and it was the first time she ever met a boyfriend of mine. She is very superficial. Afterward, she told me she had expected someone different. She said he was fit, and that she thought I would date someone more nerdy or awkward. She said she was surprised he would date me and that he could do better, but maybe he is not focused on looks. Obviously, that made me incredibly insecure and embarrassed. But I also appreciated her honesty, because most people would not say something like that out loud. After that conversation, I stopped telling people about my relationship, unless we were close friends. A coworker once asked about the person she sometimes sees me with, and said she was interested in meeting him, that he seemed cute. I told her he was my boyfriend. She got flustered, and asked why I had never mentioned it. I was not trying to hide it, it just felt private to me. Later, when I was with my boyfriend, I told him what happened. He asked if it was weird that I had not told anyone, and I said, a little bit. He asked if I was embarrassed of him, which caught me off guard. I said no, not at all. It was just something I kept private. Not secret, just private. Then he asked who the coworker was. That upset me for some reason. I asked why he wanted to know. He said he was just curious. I said he should not be curious. I did not want him comparing us in his head and worrying I would not win that comparison. He said he obviously would not be comparing us, and that I would win any comparison. He asked because he genuinely just wanted to know. I said I was not going to tell him, ever, and that it was strange he even wanted to know. He said, geez, sorry, I did not know asking that would upset you. He also said he hoped it was not anything he had done to make me feel insecure. I said no, he was fine, and I wanted to drop the whole thing. But he is not wrong. I was upset that he asked, and I may have overreacted. Am I the asshole? Insecurity is not a character flaw. It is just really hard to carry alone. The next story is about a neighbor and ice pack, and a kindness that turned into an expectation. Am I the asshole for not wanting to help my elderly neighbor or answer his phone calls? I am 40, and my neighbor is in his 70s. He is generally a nice man, and we are on decent terms. We live in a small apartment building, so all the neighbors are acquainted with each other, but not particularly close. My apartment is right next to his. He had knee surgery a week ago, and has been calling me to come change his ice packs because he cannot get up and move around easily. At first, I was happy to help, but he now expects me to come over every single day after I get home from work, including weekends. I also end up staying for 15 to 20 minutes, making small talk, until I put the ice pack back in his freezer. He says 15 minutes, but I usually end up there for about an hour. Sometimes when he calls, I do not pick up because I simply do not have the energy for it. But he knows I am home because my car is in the parking lot. He has also referred to me as his emergency backup, and I am just not comfortable being on call for someone who is not a close friend or family member. He has other neighbors helping him too, so it is not like I am his only option. Am I the asshole if I stop helping him? I do not want things to become awkward between us, but I feel like this is not something you should be relying on a neighbor for indefinitely, especially when we are not close. Helping once should not become a contract. The next one is wholesome, simple, and somehow still cause drama. Am I the asshole for going on a day trip without my daughter? Last Thursday, my daughter, who is 17, and I had plans to take a day trip to Boston, but our sewer line backed up. My husband had work, so I had to stay home and deal with the repair. We had both been really looking forward to the trip, and were both disappointed. However, my daughter felt that her dad should have taken the day off to handle the sewer issue. I told her we would just go the next day, and she reluctantly agreed. The next morning when she came downstairs, I asked if she was excited for Boston. She said she was not feeling it anymore, and had already made plans with friends. I was disappointed, but decided I would still go by myself, since I had been looking forward to it. When she saw me still getting ready, she asked what I was doing. I told her I was still going to Boston. She got upset and told me I should not go without her. I told her she was still completely welcome to join me, but I was going whether she came or not. I also offered to bring one of her friends along, if their parents were okay with it. She declined, and chose to stay in town with her friends instead. She complained to her grandmother and her aunts, who think going without her was harsh. They said I should have done something else for myself, instead of going to Boston without her. My dad said I was right to stick to my plans, and that offering to bring her friend was generous. My husband is on the fence. Am I the asshole? Your time matters too. The next one sounds trivial, and somehow became a full relationship conflict. Am I the asshole for refusing to scrub my plates clean before putting them in the dishwasher? I am 23 and live with my roommate who is 24. She always scrubs her dishes completely clean with water before putting them in the dishwasher. Recently she has been complaining that the dishes are not coming out clean because I do not scrub them enough. I have not personally seen any dish come out with residual grime on it, but I trust what she is telling me. That said, I refuse to fully wash my dishes before the dishwasher. I scrape any food into the trash and run them under water for a second. But I see no reason to completely wash them off before a machine designed to wash them does the job. It defeats the entire purpose and wastes water. She counters that it smells and that it is gross. I told her, it smells because we wait until the dishwasher is completely full and the dishes are not being cleaned properly because she habitually runs it on energy saver mode, which is the lightest cleaning cycle available, lighter than the standard 1-hour wash. I also pointed out that her dishes having no grime actually causes the dishwasher to cut the cycle short because the sensor thinks the load is already clean. I suggested just running the dishwasher more frequently and said the smell would go away. She said she refuses because she does not know what it costs to run it. I looked it up and the most I could find was about 30 cents per cycle on the normal setting. She mentioned coming from a poorer background and I said I understand that, but 30 cents for a full normal wash cycle is genuinely not a significant expense. I think there might be something else behind the resistance. We have a 2024 model with a soil sensor, so it adjusts the cycle based on how dirty the dishes actually are. I am not putting dishes in caked with food. I remove all the chunks and rinse quickly before loading. Am I the asshole for not pre-washing my plates? Some roommate conflicts are about dishes and some are about control. The next one is about a scarf, a price tag, and a friendship divided. Am I the asshole for telling my friend her crochet scarf is not worth $150? My friend, who is 18, has been selling handmade crafts and crochet items. She has been complaining that her things are not selling the way she wants. She makes crocheted scarves with detailed designs worked into them. The one she was selling had an ant design crocheted into it, and I actually thought it was really creative. I told her I wanted to buy something from her. She said she would sell it to me for $150. That is an insane price for a scarf right now. How can she expect anyone to pay that when people are struggling with the cost of everything? I told her $150 was way too much, and that nobody has that kind of money just sitting around for a scarf. She got very defensive and told me I did not understand how much time goes into making one. And I'm sure it does take a long time, but the amount of time it takes to make something does not automatically make it worth that price to a buyer. Our friend group is divided. Some of them think I was rude. Others think I was just being honest. Am I the asshole? Honesty and tact are not always the same thing. The next story is about a dinner table, a very specific sound, and a mother who took the wrong side. Am I the asshole for asking my little brother to chew with his mouth closed during dinner? I am 17 and I am very noise sensitive, to the point where I have to wear headphones at school just to function and avoid a breakdown. I also have had an eating disorder since 6th grade, which makes it genuinely difficult for me to eat properly in the first place. The sound of people chewing with their mouths open makes me lose my appetite almost immediately. My mom, who is 38, is fully aware of both of these things. My brother, who is 11, is also aware, though less so than she is. Last night we were all having dinner together. While I was talking, I heard my brother, who was sitting right next to me, chewing with his mouth open. I asked him politely to please chew with his mouth closed. He stormed out. A minute later he came back in and sat away from everyone behind me. He told me to just cover my ears. I said I needed my hands to eat. He said then wear headphones. I said I was trying to have a conversation with the family. Could he just chew with his mouth closed? A couple of minutes later, my mom asked if he was okay, and he said he was angry at me. I let it go. Right at that moment, my cousin started burping loudly at the table, and I laughed. My mom then said, you know, it's so funny that she is so bothered by a little chewing but finds burping so funny. I stopped laughing immediately and said those are two completely different sounds. She said some people are bothered by burping. I said if I had known any of you were bothered by burping, I would not have laughed. She then began to scold me, bringing up that she had breathing issues as a child that caused her to chew with her mouth open. I already knew that and said so, and then pointed out that my brother does not have that issue and was simply being obnoxious. He has done this at basically every dinner for years. Not once has he ever said he has to chew that way. She kept going, and I was holding back tears. I said I was done talking about this, and went upstairs. My brother kept trying to antagonize me as I was leaving. I just wanted to eat one meal comfortably with my family. My mom is fully aware that I have recently been showing patterns that suggest I may be slipping back into not eating enough. Am I the asshole? A child should never have to fight for basic comfort at their own dinner table. The next one is about a family that never learned the word boundaries. Am I the asshole for having issues with sharing my food with my family? I am in my mid-20s and feel like my family has always targeted me specifically when it comes to food. Let me focus on that for now. When I buy or cook my own food, or when food is meant specifically for me, I care deeply about it. I care about my boundaries being respected because I have always been expected to respect everyone else's. My family, however, does not always return that respect and usually makes up an excuse to justify it. As a kid, my cousins would pick food directly off my plate. When I told them to stop, they would not. I told my dad, and he told me to start swatting them away. The next time it happened, I did exactly that, and they all ganged up on me at once and ruined my meal when they had their own food right in front of them. My dad told me I should be happy to share with family since they share with me. They did not share with me. Another time at a family gathering, we ordered fast food burgers. Burgers and fries are my favorite. I had my meal ready and left briefly to wash my hands. When I came back, I saw my dad take a knife, cut my burger, specifically mine and no one else's, and give a portion to my younger cousin along with a handful of my fries. He had told my cousin I was happy to share, without even asking me or letting me know. He said he would buy me more and told me to stop complaining. He never did buy me more and then scolded me for being upset about it. He said he did it so I would look mature in front of everyone and that he was helping me. I now see him as someone who manipulates situations to make himself look right, and I deeply resent what this pattern has done to me. It still happens now that I am an adult, and he still twists his reasoning. Things have escalated to the point where I grab people's hands away from my food without hesitation, call my dad out for lying and being manipulative, and refuse to share food with anyone or buy food for anyone unless I am genuinely in the mood, which is rare. The pattern has made me stand permanently on edge and has given me real anxiety every time I have to defend what is mine. Am I the asshole for treating my father and family this way? Boundaries are not built from nothing. Now for the final story today, about a job, a vending machine, and the last straw. Am I the asshole for not wanting to do one more cleanup task for work? For context, I am 19 and work a minimum wage job at a trampoline park that has a concession stand and a decent-sized kitchen. For closing every night, a single staff member is usually assigned a specific area to clean: bathrooms, trash, cleaning specific activity stations. For the concession area, 2 people are always assigned to handle the closing work together. An hour before closing, my manager told me to start cleaning the kitchen and complete my other assigned closing tasks. I did all of it by myself for that entire hour. I cleaned the kitchen, restocked the drink fridges, both large and small, restocked the snacks at the concession stand, and swept the surrounding area. By closing time, I had completed everything on my list by myself, except the vending machines. My manager then told me that the other person I had been assigned to work with and I would now both restock the 3 vending machines together. I stopped and said that felt unfair, given that I had done all the other closing work alone, while the other person, who is a new hire training to become a manager, had been in the office with my manager, doing manager training. My manager was not respectful in her response. She also told me that a separate person had actually been assigned to restock the concession snacks, which I had not been told at all. So she got annoyed at me for doing something I didn't even know was not my task in the first place. The place genuinely has terrible management and almost no communication. I did approximately 80% of the work assigned to 2 people. My issue is not with doing my job, it is with the constant inconsistency and the complete lack of communication in a work environment where those 2 things should be basic. Am I the asshole? Working hard and being treated fairly should not be mutually exclusive. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, drop your verdict in the comments for every single story, and subscribe so you never miss a video. We post new Reddit stories every single day.